Internet.
Whoa.
Invisible jazz hands.
Hi, Internet.
We should be out on there, on that internet thing.
How are you,
Oh, look at
Internet?
that, a notification. I must have rang the bell properly.
Oh, man. I
Like
did
you
too.
should,
Look
too.
at that bell. Watch live now. Bad movie Friends.
Future is now. I will
Man.
queue up the unholiness that is Twitter
Oh, yeah.
and be ready
Oh, man. I would love to live in the future.
when there's no Twitter.
Well, before I knew what the future entailed.
Oh.
And now I don't want to live in the future anymore.
I want to live in like the way future.
What, where the Earth is gone?
I
Hello,
don't-
Robert.
It's not going anywhere. I mean,
Well, yeah, I guess you're right.
the Earth itself will be fine for at least many more billions of years. Whether or not we'll be on it is a whole other story. But the Earth itself will be fine. It'll fix itself.
Yeah. Oh, no. Chuck left.
Bye, Chuck. I guess he wasn't.
offended him with our talk.
He wasn't down. He was like, "Ah,
Death
fuck
of
the Earth.
universe.
I'm sick of this place.
He's like, no.
I want to hear that positive talk that the Earth will be okay."
He is not accepting of the Earth might survive.
Yeah.
He wants it all done. Get it out of here.
I mean, even if we like nuke the planet, like 150 years, the radiation be gone, and it'd be back to animals and shit soon enough. I mean, cockroaches would be fine, and there's some other durable animals and
Yeah, we're really just looking at
people,
humans dying off.
Yeah.
And probably our pets, unfortunately. But
Yeah, all of our domesticated things, the things we've made soft like us humans, they'll be gone, but the hardy animals will be fine.
yeah. Actually, no. Wild dogs, they adapt pretty quickly. Cats, yeah, cats. Well, we'd run out of birds because the cats would kill all the birds. And then all the boa constrictors would eat all the cats.
Yes, that classic food chain.
And then what eats all the boa constrictors? Mosquitoes. It's the circle of life.
Yeah. Large enough birds could eat boa constrictors, so technically a bird could you get a bird mad bird disease because they're eating other birds, and then you have crazy birds flying around going, "I'm a crazy bird."
Well, maybe you'd end up with bird gangs.
Give me some candy.
All the birds of prey would just flock together and take out things as teams.
I have heard that birds of a feather do indeed
Yeah.
flock together. Yeah.
I've heard it, but I don't
Roving
believe
gangs. I'm here to talk to you about a serious problem. Gangs of wild dogs that control most of the major capitals.
Chuck is like, I'm muted. I'm not listening to this bullshit.
Oh man, where's my HD remake of Tokyo Jungle? Or was that what it's called?
Yeah, Tokyo Jungle was
That game ruled, and I have to go find my fucking PS3 if I want to play more of that. That's not right. Look at your dog.
There's some
Came
kind
by.
of Tokyo Jungle-esque game at last year's E3,
Yeah.
Okay.
but it was like a robot cat or something. But it was the same kind of thing.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about, the cat one. But
Yeah.
It's not the same.
No,
I mean,
but-
Tokyo Jungle, you started out as a Pomeranian.
right.
That was your starting character.
Here, take down this tiger, Pomeranian. Do it.
I really liked that game.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was,
that game
good,
ruled.
but I liked it.
The game was real
There
dumb.
are people
but it
who
ruled.
went deep and unlocked a whole bunch of shit. But
Yeah.
that game was not easy either.
Nah. Maneater's probably the closest weird thing that exists like it.
Yeah.
Of just, look, man, fucking rules of nature. Things eat shit. Deal with it.
Yeah, I did. You didn't talk about Maneater last.
No,
No quarters, did you?
That was a recent completion.
Yeah. But you liked it?
It's exactly that B tier game we've been bemoaning doesn't exist. It's right
Yeah.
there. It's it's bordering on a bad game, but yet it's very playable and fun.
Yeah, apparently one of my old friends, her husband worked on it. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's this is clear that B tier doesn't quite maybe have enough polish, but even those have gotten better than they were.
Yeah.
like something like this, if you were to throw it against like what was it, Tornado Outbreak or whatever, the Katamari-esque thing, it's like, all right, well
Yeah.
this is still more polished than that, but this is also real dumb and knows it's dumb and it's just going for it.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Anyway,
We need more dumb games going for it.
yeah,
That aren't made in Unity.
Unity.
Yeah.
Shall we do this?
Yeah, are you recording?
I am. Are
Chuck,
you?
are
Is
you recording?
everyone else recording?
No. Hang on.
Chuck.
Why so glum, chum?
Oh no, he's leaving all the fun.
Oh no.
I guess Chuck's done.
Yeah.
Oh man. So how's your work? Like, are they still saying next year come back?
Yeah, it's still, yeah. They've basically said that, like, barring a miracle vaccine that people actually take and works and all that, and after we've seen that it works, like, we probably still even then would not fully return to a full like office staffed environment.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably never going back. But I mean, like, in a good way. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, we've totally proven that everybody can do their jobs remotely, so why?
Yeah. Well, some places are fighting it. Jen's place keeps fighting it, and it's like she gets more done at home. Why do you want her to come in there? You know.
Yeah.
Luckily, she got a doctor's order that she's at least through the end of November. She gets to stay home, so that's good. You know.
Yeah.
I wish I could, but the way mine works and with HIPAA and everything, that's like an impossibility, apparently. So whatever. I don't mind though. Like I had kind of missed having like a real commute. Strange as that sounds, because like my one to the old job was like 10 minutes. So I'd like listen to 2 songs or like, 15 minutes of a podcast at 1.5 speed, and that was that. Now it's like I actually have to lock in and go somewhere.
You could almost finish the commercials on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Never listened to it. So
No,
I
I'm just
couldn't
saying,
tell you.
like, lately it's like, if I'd never listened because of him. I just listened because of the people he has on. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like, luckily they're all front loaded. So you just know if you're going to start one, it's like 15, 20 minutes. The first 15 minutes or so is all ads.
Seriously?
Seriously, yes. And then,
15 minutes.
like, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. It's at least 10, because I mean, like I've done like the 2-minute skip or whatever, and he'll still like for like 2 or 3 times he'll still be talking about the same product. Sometimes it's like, how fucking much did they pay you, dude? Like, to talk about them for 6 fucking minutes? Like, it's a fucking infomercial.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't know, but whatever. Dude's got a lot of money, so whatever. Man, hoard it up.
Yeah, it must be nice.
Yep. Anyway,
I like money.
we should hang out.
I wish I had
I mean,
more
we
of it.
shouldn't, because that's not what people are doing right now.
Now we get COVID.
I don't like that.
All right. You tweeted it, you said?
There is a tweet.
There it is. Boom.
Are you going to be able to actually join us, Chuck? Or is
What's up,
I'll
buddy?
try.
your dog still making noise?
Dog is hyper as shit.
Oh,
You should just pick her up and hold her.
You should shut the hell up. You should shut the hell up. Oh, now you're choking.
do you not have like a tire your dog out trick? Like something to do? Like,
That for the last 3 hours.
oh, okay. Yeah, my parents' dog is like part Chihuahua, so it gets like crazy fucking hyper. And I just have a trick. It likes to go upstairs where there's a big flat carpeted area and just do laps. You sit in the middle and just clap your hands, and it'll just do laps around you. And you go up there for like 5 minutes, and then it's like, all right, nap time, because it just fucking it goes full speed for like 5 straight minutes, and then it's just like, all right, nap time, cool. So
This is her toddler.
Oh,
I'm
like,
super
overtired?
Exhausted.
yeah, we always say that OTP, overtired puppy.
Yeah. If you would just go lay down, you would go to sleep. Yeah, you would. Yeah. Uh-huh. Go to bed.
It's like, go to sleep, stupid
Go.
dog.
Go the fuck to sleep. Stop.
Yeah, she's fussing with you now.
She's very mouthy. You're mouthy. Get out of here.
Are you the only one in your house, Chuck?
No.
Well, why can't somebody else take her? Oh, all right.
I'll be able to say hello here at the beginning, but you guys have the more. I have a 2020 movie, but it's the least important of y'all's 2020 movies. So
Okay.
All right.
All right, let's do this.
Oh shit! I should record. There we go. Unpaused. Recording. Lines are moving on the thing.
Oh, fuck. Is this 20? 19? 19. Just making sure. All right, welcome to the BAFcast Variety Hour.
hey,
Yeah.
hey,
Variety
Bearcast
Hour.
Variety Hour. Ow!
Episode 19 of this voided hellscape that we're in. Yeah.
Numbers.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Yeah. So I'm Harlow.
I'm Mackie.
I'm Chuck.
Yeah. One day we'll have a full
Yeah.
complement of the.
I finally make it back and BJ's out, so you know. Whatever.
This is how it is when you're home, man. You can
It's
just
really-
be like, nah, I can't get out of bed and do a podcast.
Yeah. I'm too drunk to make it.
Yeah. It's 8 o'clock. I'm fucking wasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, just in case you're for whatever reason joining us brand new, we're not doing our normal show. This is just whatever we've been watching, whatever we've been doing, just to
The
get
second
content.
half is the whole episode.
Yeah, or whatever. We didn't do any homework assignments, so there's no semblance, no order, no, just chaos. You know, like the world. This is a reflection of the world. So unless of course you live in New Zealand, you know, then they're like, what's going on? What's all this chaos? I don't understand.
Yeah. We just be like, hey, it's all things geek. Those were my favorite. There was a while where iTunes was like only those. Like it was like every podcast was like all things nerd. It's like no, they
2 new Funko Pops came out this week.
yeah,
you
have
guys.
have some focus, people. Focus. That's why our show has actually kind of lasted, is because we had focus.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
Yeah. But
So-
anyway, on with the lack of focus.
yeah, let's talk some movies.
Okay.
You have seen the most recent, I think. Mine might be more recent, but yours is probably more important.
I mean, this would have just come out in theaters on Friday if
Yeah.
theaters were still a thing.
It technically did.
I guess it did, but it's also available immediately at home. That is Bill and Ted 3 or Face the Music, whichever you prefer. They've never gone with numbers, just Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Mm-hmm.
Right
So-
off, yeah,
Last one was 91, right? Was
Mhm.
Bogus Journey?
I believe so.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, so 29 years later.
Mm-hmm.
It was time.
Yeah. Okay, so I will say right off the bat, I really, really liked this. This is one of the few
good.
like long dormant sequel-y resurrection things that I think totally works. And I think in no small part, I feel like I've been throwing shade at Dean Pariseau here recently, just because like for some reason he just crept into like that Marmaduke guy. Like it's just like, all right, you made like a quality movie.
not him.
No, I know it's not him, but it's like you made
Okay.
some quality movie in your past, like you know, and it's like I know it's in you, and then you just went on, but he's not. He just has a very strange filmography, but he directed this, and that's a good thing because I don't think this is this is obviously not on par with Galaxy Quest, but
Mhm.
it's clear that it's like it's the same guy behind the camera. Like it's somebody who gets. You can't just be like Star Trek, right? Am I right? Okay, you know, like that's not why Galaxy Quest works. It's like
Mhm.
it's deeper than that. It's like yes, this works on nostalgia, but it's got to stand on its own too, and that's why Galaxy Quest works. Is like it's not just a cardboard cutout. You know, it's not just like, hey, look, remember that? Okay, cool. It's not the Funko Pop. You know, it's
Yeah.
it is like you know a good story on its own. Just happens to be a very well done Star Trek parody without it, without the name. Yeah, and this is similar, except you know they get to actually be Bill and Ted. But it's clear it's like, all right, we have to recognize the past and honor the past, but you know this also needs to move forward, and I just think it handles it really well. It's clearly kind of it's weird. It's low budget, but it's not like I was expecting like the Netflix revival of Arrested Development, like just total green screen, like you know nothing looks real, that kind of low budget, and it's not. It's like it's still clearly like we're not going all out, but they pulled in like everybody they needed to like bring them back basically. that they can. You know, kind of hard to get
yeah.
George Carlin, but yeah,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yeah,
I
it was
really
good to see
like
William
it.
Sadler in the commercial.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, like as soon as I saw he was involved, I was like, yeah, okay, because
mhm.
it should also be noted, it's no secret. I think I've said this before. I think Bogus Journey is a far better movie than Excellent Adventure. Like Bogus Journey is one of those things like it shouldn't exist. Like it's one of
No.
those weird things to me that it's like this is a thing that should not exist. Like this should not be a sequel to this movie. It should not be making the references that it's making.
Yeah, it's like all Bergman references
Yeah. And it's like
in a
that
stoner movie.
yeah, it's that is just the weirdest thing. Like it's
Mhm.
yeah. I mean
Yeah.
it's kind of like Bogus Journey is like one of those weird things except it's just an anomaly. Like there's no reason that should exist. Like the Stranger Note, it's like the Brady Bunch sequel movie is like a very similar thing. Like it's like, wow, you just really went for some crazy shit in this.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
just beyond references beyond just just TV tropes in general. Like and crossovers. Like it's all this weird like you know shared universe. Like everything that was on TV is all this weird like MCU style thing for like 60s,
Mhm.
70s, and 80s television, and it's like it's just really fucking out there. And yeah, I think things like that are great. Wayne's World 2 is another example of like that is just doing things that it shouldn't work but does.
Mhm.
Yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
because I mean,
I haven't seen the first two since they came out, and I found myself wanting to rewatch them so I could watch the third one.
Mhm.
But I also found myself going, man, I really want to watch Bogus Journey way more than I want to watch Excellent Adventure.
Don't get me wrong, I love Excellent Adventure. I've seen it a ton of times. There's nothing wrong with it, and I adore certain things in Excellent Adventure. It's just Bogus Journey is just one of those things. It's like I probably feel like it about like you do with Gremlins 2, where it's just like this shouldn't be a thing. Like
Mhm.
this should not be the sequel to this other movie at all. Like it just doesn't
Mhm.
fit. It's like a complete and total tonal shift, and
Yeah.
it's just nuts. So
So what do you think of the new one then?
it's it plays it kind of safe, but it is also a little weird too. But I really like its message, and like I like a lot of things that it's doing, and it's having fun in the time travel thing without like I think it has enough like branching storylines that it works out really well, because it's not just like, hey, let's follow Bill and Ted and like look, they're old now, haha. It's not
Mhm.
that at all. And it's like, yeah, there's some of that of like that's the entire point of the thing is like they've been given this like you are the chosen ones, you're going to write the song that unites the galaxy or the world or whatever, and they haven't still like
Mhm.
and they're just like, but they've like the beginning of the movie they've hit that like uh you know 82 piece orchestra Beatles, like they're just like doing like throat chanting in 82 piece orchestras and all this stuff, like trying to create this incredible sound, and it's just like just fucking chaos, and
So it's Brian Wilson's Pet Sounds.
yeah, a little bit, but like not good. like Pet Sounds is amazing. Like Pet Sounds is also one of those things that shouldn't have worked, but it does, and yeah, it's just yeah, I don't know, I like it. It just it plays with a lot of like music tropes and things like that, and but also like works really well in the Bill and Ted universe as a continuation and or ending. I mean, it's kind of one of those things like you could keep going with it in a way, but also this could be an ending because it's like, well, we took 29 years to make the last one, so this is probably it.
Yeah, this would have to make like a lot of money for them to go, let's do another one of those instead of just like, yeah, that's enough.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot, obviously, because it's the new thing. I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and I think most people, Harlow, have been pretty much on your side of it, of really enjoying it. But every once in a while, man, there's someone who's just like, wow, that sucked, and I don't get any of the people who like this at all. So it's weird. It seems like a 90-10 split of, wow, that was great, and 10% is just like, this movie sucks, and everyone who likes it is dumb. So
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, I am the exact perfect age for Bill and Ted. I mean, like they hit me right at the right times, just when they came out, what? What was that?
I said, are you 69?
Yes, I am.
He's actually 420.
Yeah. Yes, but no, I mean, I just like, I mean, that it was just weird because the two movies grew with me. I mean, the break between the two movies, I suddenly got into other movies, and so it was like, here was this like juvenile, haha, like, dude, yeah, dude, kind of thing that's charming in the first one, and then the second one was like, all of a sudden I was discovering foreign films, and then I watched this, I'm like, holy shit, I get this reference. Like, this is like, what? Like,
Yeah.
just one of those things, where I was like, why do I get this? Like, this shouldn't be a thing, this shouldn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I thought it was great, and thankfully a lot of the digital services are doing a 3-pack bundle. Like, they've upscaled or gotten 4K copies of the old two, and iTunes had all three for $35, which is pretty good for a
really?
movie that
Man,
is 20.
I already have the other two,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like,
Well, it's just being like the
I
new
wasn't
movie
quite
by
willing to pay
itself.
the $25 to get the new one.
Right? Yeah, that's just it.
Sight unseen, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know. I really liked it. I can't go to bat that it's like some cinematic masterpiece or something, like it's much deeper meaning or something like that, like, or it's subversive or whatever. I just think it's charming and works.
Did it hit at the right time?
I feel like it did. I mean, it's got a it's got a nice feeling to it, like Galaxy Quest does. Like, it's like when it's all over, you're like, that was nice. I feel better. I feel happier, generally speaking. Like, and not in that like dismissive parents movie way where it's just like, that was nice, and you ask it next day, and like, what was that about? It's like, I don't know. Bill Murray was in it. Like, yeah, but what was it about? There was a carriage or something. Okay, you just slept for 80 minutes out of a 90-minute movie, didn't you? Like, yeah. Because I mean, that's I'm saying, like, this is good, and like you walk away and you're like, that was nice, and now I can tell you about it too. So,
Well, good.
yeah.
So, throwing back to the 80s and things that probably shouldn't exist, I watched Class Action Park on HBO Max.
Oh yes, I did
Which
too,
is-
and I forgot to mention that
What's that?
when we were counting our movies. I did not count that, but I also watched it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I talked about it on Discord because I was like, everybody has to watch this. And it's less like about like, you have to watch this awesome movie. It's like, holy shit, you need to learn about this thing that existed for 18 years somehow. Where this is a documentary about a water park / go-kart park / motorboat park in New Jersey in the 80s that basically had no rules, no insurance, because the guy who owned it actually made a fake insurance company and bought insurance from that so that he could claim he had insurance, which he didn't. And they didn't hire any engineers to make any of their water slides. So they had stuff that would seriously injure people just trying to go through it if they were the wrong weight going through, or they'd get stuck because they had one that was a big straight, a big 45-degree angle going down that went into a corkscrew at the end and then came out. But if you were too light, you just stopped and you couldn't make it up the corkscrew and they had to go fish you out. Or if you were too heavy, you came through too fast and you actually like smashed yourself on the thing. Or, you got partway up the corkscrew and then just dropped onto the middle part and fell like through. Like they discuss one part where the one person went through and then the next people that went through were getting scratches all over them and they couldn't figure it out until they opened up the tube and found that there were teeth embedded in the lining of the tube from the first person that had gone through.
There was like a foam covering at the top so that if you came through too high, you didn't hit the hard plastic, you hit the foam, but people were coming up and just ripping their teeth
popping
out.
their teeth. Yes. So, yeah, this thing existed and there is a shit ton of footage of it from the 80s and early 90s.
This whole thing is like if like Backyard Wrestling or ECW had suddenly grown to like WWE size but never got any experts involved. It was like the same, like, hey, y'all, watch this. What if we did this? Like, what if I jump off the roof into a plywood thing with tacks covered? And then, like, at no point was somebody like, yeah, but if you're going to do that 90, 100 more times, you should probably figure out a way to do it and not nearly break your leg every time. You know, like WWE does. It was like, yeah, we can do that, but also here's how to do it safely, and none of that there.
Yeah, it's just like this place that existed where, like, you just take it for granted. If you go on a ride at Disney, you're not going to get decapitated unless something truly horrible has gone wrong.
I like the way to describe it. It was like it would take a catastrophic failure of the ride for you to die, or you being really excessively stupid,
injured,
or just like, I'm going to take my harness off and stand up, and it's like, well, you did that to yourself, like
yeah. Whereas this place, no, and it was just run by teenagers,
drunk teenagers,
which I've talked to a few people who have been there or who had gone there, and they said yes, everything's true that documentary says, that most of the attendants were drunk, and all of them were like 18 at most, running a freaking water park and serving beer and letting people ride go-karts at however many miles per hour those went.
I think the thing that really summed it up as far as like the because they made mention of Lord of the Flies multiple times throughout the documentary, but the thing that I was just like, holy shit, was they had not only to have like go-karts, and they had like bumper boats, no, they didn't have bumper boats. They had boats that people use like bumper boats, but they weren't just supposed to be like little mini speedboats. But they had these
with little propellers on the back.
Yeah,
they weren't like jet skis where it's just like blow some water out the back.
These that
like straight up had propellers.
Okay, so yeah, while I'm talking about those, that one story the one lady told about, like, one kid got stuck on a dock, and then another kid like rammed him, and then like launched the boat over top so that the propeller was like almost to his head. Like, at first it was like, oh my god, they're decapitated, because like the way the boat just like fucked the other boat, like mounted it, and but they were like, they actually managed, like, their head went down, but they were just pinned underneath the boat. But like, she had to go over and like hit the person's boat that was on top of the other ones with a stick just to make them take their hand off the accelerator, because like the propeller was still going full speed, inching closer and closer to this person's head. And then they were like, yeah, they just hopped off the ride, jumped on the gondola,
got in line for something else.
The whatever, monorail or whatever the fuck it was, and just like nothing happened.
Like, there are just like the stories are insane.
But the battle tanks,
they have battle tanks.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. That was the one where I was like, holy shit, the fucking, like, okay, I guess we're just taking no precaution whatsoever, was the battle tanks, because they have these little makeshift go-karts that they turn into tanks and put they're almost like those golf ball retrieval carts, on the driving range, but they put a little air pressure
canister. Tennis ball
launcher
built into
a tennis ball air pressure
that you would
cannon.
launch at the other tanks in the area.
Yeah, but they're all caged up, and but you still just like launch them. But like, I guess
somebody decided to bring gasoline.
Well, they found they just had the gasoline can that they refill the things just sitting there. Yeah. So like, they grabbed the gasoline, the jerry can, and just drench a tennis ball, light it on fire, and throw it in.
Balls, lit them on fire, and started launching them at the other tanks. Like, this movie is insane. It's just, and they have so many good interviews. That's the thing. Like, apparently people on Letterboxd hate Chris Gethard, but I thought that guy was absolutely hilarious. Like, every time they talked to him about
that was the dude with the glasses just sitting back in his couch. Yeah, I thought that guy was hilarious.
Who swore like every time they brought it up.
That's great.
But like, they get so many good interviews of people, and it's just so much footage. And John Hodgman narrates it, and he narrates it really well, because he strikes the right tone of like, yeah, this is pretty stupid, and it just kept happening over, and like, and it just, this thing existed for years, and eventually they get to the point where they're talking about the owner, and that this is the guy who built a fake insurance company just so he could keep the place open, and they eventually go to basically start talking to people who were injured there or had family members who died there, because yes, there were multiple people who died, not just like, oh, a kid drowned in the wave pool and they shut it down. No, multiple people drowned in the wave pool.
Yeah, multiple people died on the same ride or whatever, same attraction.
Yeah.
And they just opened it back up.
Yeah, but, they obviously they get to a point where they're like, talking to a family who lost their son there. And like, the son died like 3 days before his brother's wedding, and he was supposed to be the best man. Like, there's just some horrible, horrible shit. So it kind of like, it takes it down a notch, but it's also kind of essential for the way they're telling you about the story, obviously. But then they kind of get to the end and they're like, yeah, man, but it was the 80s. So it was kind of like, whatever, and it is a good point when they get to it, where they're basically like, everyone in the 80s were the last kids who just were unsupervised, where it was basically just like, parents let us run out and do what the fuck ever. And, it was like, you think about movies like E.T. and the Goonies and all that, is like, those movies don't happen anymore because that doesn't happen with kids anymore. Like they're always supervised somehow. And it's kind of like they never quite make the connection between like places like this are exactly why. like, it's this place's fault that people that parents worry about their kids getting hurt doing stupid shit. But it just kind of it's like one of those movies that doesn't quite stick the landing, but it coasts by just on what the hell, like the stuff it's describing and these people are talking about. It's insanity. Like it is like I cannot. I still like I watched it yesterday. And I still cannot believe this place existed, and that people I know have been there, and we're like, yeah, that place was dangerous, man. like they called the wave pool the grave pool, and they called it what was it, Traction Park.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was actually Johnny Knoxville who came up with the Class Action Park for the name of the movie because he said that on like Kimmel or whatever he was on. But, yeah,
because I guess they made it into Action Point at whatever that was a year or two ago. But like,
yeah, co-written by Mike Judge of all people.
Really?
Yeah,
he probably went there. Like that's the thing,
yes,
is there's like there's just a lot of people who like were in that New York area that had been there and wanted to talk about it, obviously.
I enjoyed watching it like you said, because it's like the slow train wreck thing. You're like I honestly am dumbfounded that this place existed.
Well,
and
they get into detailed descriptions of all the rides too.
Oh yeah.
So it's like it's very vivid about how everything worked, and some of the rides that they tried that didn't work.
Right.
That if you think about it, they were too dangerous for this place. That's how those rides were fucking insane.
Yeah. But like, I couldn't say I truly enjoyed watching it, only because like the whole time, it doesn't do enough. Like, I hate to say it, but it's like you have to make documentaries or whatever these days where it's like sometimes you've got to hammer home what you're actually trying to say, and there's too many times this just reverts back to like, yeah, that was crazy, but man, I have great memories. It's like, come on, like you take like.
Hey, if you didn't die.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, there's too much, like, it's too much nostalgia, like, yeah, but man, things were crazy back then. And it's like, okay, look, I know we live in maybe possibly too safe of a world now, for kids, but, like, you also, like, if we don't be careful, we'll just be back there. It's like not understanding your history is doomed to repeat it kind of thing, and it's like, it feels irresponsible to not, like, have a hard line stand at the end of, like, no, fuck this place, and don't ever let something like this happen again. Like this is insane. Like you have to understand that. like at the end of the day, like this was bad.
Yeah, and I mean they kind of touch on some of that obviously with the families who lost people, and like people are talking about like dudes dislocating shoulders and all that, jumping in the pool, but I think you need that as well. And I think that's why they put it in there. Otherwise, it's just like people describing a Jackass skit to you. Well, that's is almost like what it would play out as.
Yeah, but I mean that's what I mean is like they frame it by showing you a lot of footage when like Headbangers Ball went there one time and stuff like that, like and all the MTV stuff that like used to be filmed in that area, and it's like, yeah, okay, like we've taken responsibility, or we are trying. Most people are trying to take responsibility for the dumb shit that we said, did, and everything else in the 80s and 90s and any other time. And like, I feel like the inclusion of the family that lost their son, it should have been more of people like that. I'm not saying like I want to glorify the tragedy, but it's like it felt like compulsory.
Yeah, but they don't show up till like the hour mark.
That's what I mean. It felt compulsory. It was like, oh, somebody was like, you really need to interview somebody with something negative to say, because like. All these people are just like, oh man, that was crazy, and it's like, okay, yeah, I know it was, but like, you're when the round trip eventually gets back to nostalgia, and it's like, yeah, but that was a better time. It's like, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, but it's definitely it's well worth watching for sure.
Yes,
just and just finding out about this place, it's just one of those that coasts by on that for me. Is just like this. Sure. This is fascinating. Like I'm glad somebody focused on this thing and got people to tell stories about it, because that's it. Like I'm still like to think that existed in my lifetime is insane.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, nobody actually wants to watch Ken Burns documentaries. They're wall to wall packed, full of information, and generally like they're about subjects that you can't. They don't. they don't rely on interviews. Like I feel like all documentaries now, that's it. It's just like, well, just go sit some people down in a hotel room and talk to them about their experience with the thing, and maybe do some dumb recreations with them where they're clearly not the age of the thing they were talking about, and you obviously didn't have this footage.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm kind of disappointed by the fact that like that's all documentaries are now. Like it can be compelling and interesting, and I understand like the very nature of a documentary, unless you're one of those lucky ones that was like, well, we went just to do this, and this thing happened, like we just happened to be here, and like like the Gimme Shelter thing, where it's like we were just going to cover this not Woodstock thing, and holy shit, like the Hell's Angels went fucking crazy.
And this one gets lucky because there's so much footage of that place. Between home videos and just like I don't even know what kind of footage it was, but I mean it wasn't all just like people taking the video camera around it. It was,
no, yeah. But I mean, like another example is the other documentary that's happening on HBO, The Vow, the thing about the Nexium stuff, and it's like that is also obviously based on a lot of interview type things after the fact, and does a lot of like the dumb recreation stuff, but they also have just like a ton of footage that they probably shouldn't have from inside the system, and it's like.
Also, they all recorded every phone call they've ever had.
Right. Well, I think it was like it was like at the point when they were all like getting suspicious of the thing. So I think it was like at that point, like I don't know. It's whatever. I'm just saying like there's my point is like the fact when you base a documentary solely on interviews, it seems to it comes with a slant, an opinion, if you will, and. That's the thing is like I think if like you take out the one victim family, that documentary would be like, oh man, like that place, it sure was dangerous, but man, I'd go again if they built it back tomorrow. And it's like, yeah, that's part of the problem. That's what we're saying. Like I'm not saying it's the fault of anybody that went there and had a good time or whatever. Like I'm not suggesting like you were a bad person if you went there and actually had fun. I'm saying that like as a species we have to learn that like to maybe curb our self-destructive tendencies and things like that and figure out like why we're wanting to cheat death to have fun. Like what is that? Like because we've taken away the danger of the hunt, that like our bodies are still like, I need to feel danger and I'm safe. I don't know, like figure it out. It's beyond me. I'm not a fucking psychoanalyst.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like at the end of the day, like things like this shouldn't have a celebratory nature of this like obviously fucked up place like with fucking criminals possibly with mob connections running it. Like the fact that like they didn't get shut down faster, like how they survived one death in their shit park place in New Jersey. Like how do you do that? Like
and insisting on not settling on any lawsuits and dragging them out as long as possible so that people would just give up because it costs too much.
Like I said, there's just something about like there's just a lot of shady shit going on there, and I feel like the documentary barely scratched the surface, or maybe barely could scratch the surface, but
maybe they were afraid to.
Possibly, yeah. Anyway, I'm just
man.
saying it was fun. I mean, I would still recommend watching it. Just like I said, it was disappointing that that's like kind of the takeaway of like, oh man, things were crazy then, and I'd go back. Okay. I mean, I would now. I mean, I'm not fucking scared of Action Park right now. I mean, like. I'd go there today because it's just like, well, I'm saying like, who gives a fuck right now? Like, let me fly off the Alpine slide and hit a rock. It might be
I for one welcome
better. Anyway, Chuck, you said you watched some movies. Do you want to tell us about them?
Well, I watched a movie.
A movie
worth talking about. There's a 2020 release called Body Cam. Which is a horror movie starring Mary J. Blige.
Okay.
So this was filmed a year ago and then quietly dumped out right in the middle of the pandemic. And I just knew it was a recent horror movie, so I was just like, it's horror season, time to watch the horror movies. Did not realize going into it how relevant it would be to current events. It is about a town in Louisiana where they have had yet another innocent black person killed by the hands of the police.
Uh-oh.
And so the town's on edge and everyone hates the cops. And then suddenly a predator thing shows up and murders a cop.
Okay.
That's like the first 15 minutes, and I'm like, okay, sweet, yeah, okay, everything is going on now, but also the Predator. I'm on. Let's see what happens.
Mhm.
It does not maintain that, and if you read any synopsis of this movie, for some reason it tells you exactly what the movie is about, which I do not recommend. It will become very obvious to you what the movie is about as the movie progresses, and you'll know way before the movie reveals itself. But man, the sense of wonder this thing has in the first like 20 minutes of just like, whoa, what is this? This is awesome. Like it's heartbreaking, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, that dude just got yanked up into space and then fell
All
back to
right.
Earth and impaled on a fence. What's going on here? So yeah, it's super relevant in ways that are super uncomfortable. There's one extended sequence in particular that is just infuriating in terms of what's happening in the scene and how it relates to things going on right now. But I thought, as far as modern horror movies about some sort of supernatural thing, um, this seemed to be produced well and made well and didn't feel like cheap bullshit. Um, it's a Paramount movie, but it's like shuffled off to one of their tiny companies. It's like,
One of their sub brands.
yeah, it's like Paramount Players or something. It's some
Mhm.
like some sub Paramount brand for like the cheap movies, but it
Para
it never.
Hill.
It just doesn't feel cheap. It felt like a pretty well produced thing, and I seem to be the outlier on it. A lot of people watched it and were like, "Well, this is garbage," but it's better than that.
Okay.
It is better than that, and I think it's worth watching. I think it's very sincere. I think it's very relevant. It's got some absolutely legit jump scares in it, like super legit. Like usually you can see a jump scare coming, especially now, and just be like, yeah, there it is. But like this one got me like three times. Like three times I was unprepared for just something going blah. So yeah,
So
the Draculas were in it.
Is it Space Dracula?
Bleh.
That's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Bleh.
Bleh. Yeah. So yeah, I
so it's called Body Cam,
body cam.
and Mary J. Blige is the only person we would recognize from it.
Yeah, there's a dude from Dexter that's in it that you'll recognize from
Mhm.
either Dexter or a million other things. Everyone else is kind of like, you kind of look like that one dude on that one thing, but I don't know if that's true or not. So,
Okay.
but it's dark, it's sinister, it's oppressive, it's spooky. Um, it's not the best. I mean, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but I thought it was better than average and was pleasantly surprised by it. So I wanted to make mention of it and say, seek it out.
Well, cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess Mary J. Blige is a connection because I've
Yep.
watched 2 seasons of Umbrella Academy, and she plays an assassin in that.
Cool.
Yeah. Obviously been gone for a bit. um, I have seen 2 seasons of that show. Like Harlow, I think, said a while back, the second season I like a bit more than the first season, though I think the first season has a little more focus, but there is one. It's hard to talk about it without getting spoilery, but it's. I saw what storyline they were doing fairly like midway through, and I was like, okay, we're doing this one. All right, I can deal with that. But
I mean, I think you can tell people what you're. I don't think there's any reason to allude away from it because either. Well, I'm just saying either someone is watching Umbrella Academy and picks up on it too, pretty quickly. Because I mean, or and you know what the other thing is. You know, I'm just saying like I don't
I'll
think
just
it's
say
super
it's a
spoiler.
pretty popular comic storyline from a different comic, and this is the second best version of it because the other adaptations of it have not been good. But this is probably the best one since the original one. So
Mhm.
I'll leave it at that. But man, I don't. It's interesting that I got into the show because honestly, like the first few episodes, basically everybody is an asshole to everyone else. And then even like characters that you're like, no, they're good. Like by the end of it, it's like, no, fuck them too.
I don't know.
Fuck
So
them big time.
I like almost everybody. Like, I don't know if I'm a terrible person, but well, I mean, like the kids. I mean,
Well, by the second
the
season, I liked all of them
yeah.
because they've actually they got over just bitching about their childhoods. You know, it's
Mostly,
kind
yeah.
of, but so much of the first season is the majority of them bitching about their childhoods and trying to figure that part out.
Well, it's also yeah. I mean, but there's also like they had broken up and mostly gone away, so it's like it's them coming together to commiserate for the first time about how shitty their childhoods were. I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and it's frustrating to me. Like two big knocks I have on the first season is the episode where everyone actually has growth and something happens gets undone like immediately as soon as the episode ends, and then it's like, no, all that growth, never mind about that. Like, and it kind of it sucks. And the end of the season ends on just like one of the biggest blue ball moments where it's just like, huh, all right then. Like if I hadn't known that people really liked the second season, I probably would have been like, man, this could kind of fuck off. Like I severely dislike the way the first season ends, and it also reminded me a lot of Watchmen, where it's kind of like those last two episodes are like, all right, man, plot, plot, plot. Let's get that plot, 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 and it just becomes trying to cram everything into the end and have it be this big spectacle, and kind of forgetting the stuff that got you there, because like, and it doesn't make it bad. It's just kind of like tonally, it's like I feel like the last episode has about like a third of the dialogue of a normal episode, and that kind of harms it somewhat. But then, yeah, the next season is just kind of, it's just fun. Like I think it's like everyone's comfortable with who they are. There's a good reason for them to be separated. It's like it's kind of, and they don't drag it out too much. Like I was afraid that they were going to take till like the seventh or eighth episode to get everybody back together, and that doesn't happen at all. And I was glad for that. But yeah, it introduces a whole lot of questions that it doesn't really get to answering. But it definitely ends in a much more satisfying manner than the first season did. Like by far, like it actually resolves things that that had been lingering. So I was about that a lot, and they introduced a couple new characters that I really really liked. One in particular who I hope returns. I don't know in what capacity she will. So that's kind of tough because it's
It kind of narrows it down a bit.
yeah, but
Is it the
yeah,
daughter? Is it the daughter or the mother?
daughter.
Okay, yeah, I figured.
Yeah, like she's likable immediately,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is it's like it's finally like, oh, well, this is a likable character. Like, how about that? We actually like them when they're introduced. Though Jen pointed out, for some reason they really dumb up Luther in the second season, and that gets a little frustrating because it's like he's pretty smart and capable in the first season, and the second season he's just kind of like, they're like, nah, he's our dumb lug, and he just kind of goes with it, and it doesn't. He's the only one I feel like gets shortchanged, but I think everyone else's characters kind of improve in the second season and have some growth, whereas he kind of like regresses to just a dumb guy, so to speak. But yeah, but it's it's nice that the other character they introduce is like 100% good. Like there's not a bad bone in that character's body, which is so desperately needed in a show like this, where it's like, God, like especially midway through the first season, I was like, man, some of these people can fuck the hell off forever. And it's like finally you end up kind of liking them. There's still a couple that I'm like, eh.
But please tell me it's not Klaus.
Off. What's that?
I said I hope it's not Klaus. I would be upset if you don't like Klaus. Is it Klaus?
It's Klaus.
Oh, I love Klaus.
I'm curious though. Did that guy have in his contract that he can only wear a shirt for one scene per season?
Maybe.
I swear to God, that guy is naked like for 85% of every season, or like in his underwear for 85% of it.
Yeah,
like
yeah. I think it's just that it's that tall, lanky rock star build. Like it just I think there's just something about that. If if you have that Mick Jagger body, you're just like, well, I can't
Yeah.
wear a shirt for very long.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's definitely a show worth watching. Like, if I can get over the assholishness, because like there was a point in the middle of the first season where I was like, okay, the thesis of this show is if you were born on October 1st, 1989, you are destined to be an asshole, which still kind of plays out if you think about it. But
Yeah. I don't
yeah,
know. You don't like my favorite character, so what? I don't know. My second favorite character would be Allison. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. She, yeah, they I like what they did with her storyline in the second one, though I feel by the end she's kind of like barely in the last episode, and that's kind of a bummer. But it's when you got that big a cast, you kind of have to figure out ways to, you know, somebody's going to get the short change at some point. But yeah, but I mean, it's definitely I'll watch season 3 if they get around to it. Apparently, the comic still hasn't even put out the storyline that they basically tease at the end of the second season. So we'll see. But yeah, I liked it. I mean, there's some, like you said, it's made on kind of that little bit higher level than you're expecting, and their montage game is strong. Like, they're not quite up to Breaking Bad level, but
No.
their montages are generally some of the best parts of the show.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like it's not just a typical superhero thing. It's like there's cool direction going on with how they're making the episodes too. It's not just when I was I guess internet hating on Doom Patrol when I said it's like yeah, that feels like a TV show, because it's just like point camera, let thing happen for the most part. This is like let's do inventive things with the filmmaking too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, though there's a couple choices they make that are a little odd as far as like there's a point where Klaus has been sober for years, and I feel like they treat him. Is it falling off the wagon? I that Seinfeld joke always throws me off.
Falling off the wagon means you started drinking after being sober.
Yeah, like when he falls off the wagon, it's kind of not. It's treated like, oh, there's Klaus being Klaus again, as opposed to kind of like, no, this is a shitty moment for this guy.
What, when he's in the liquor store? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of that one was a little, it was almost like, no, well, we still want to do the scene this way, even though it didn't tonally fit, at least for me. But yeah.
Well, I think, I mean, my defense, because I like Klaus so much, is I like first season Klaus almost better because he's so broken. Like, there's something interesting to me about him just being a barely functional alcoholic, like I mean, like, to me that's just like, it's a very interesting character thing. And don't get me wrong, like, cleaned up Klaus is obviously a good thing for him, but it's like I feel like that montage was kind of an audience cipher. If you're like, all right, we're going back to crazy Klaus, and then you kind of have that, like, it gets more distorted as the scene goes on, because then like the realization of like, oh no, this is actually bad, like for a moment you're like, fuck yeah, go back to drunk Klaus, that was fun, and then you're like, oh no, like, this actually, that would be bad for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a well-acted, well-made show. And unlike The Boys, I feel like it's not holding off on the superhero stuff just to be cheap about it. Like, it's not, because like The Boys always felt like it was always limited by budget. Like, you might have one scene of somebody doing a superhero thing and that's it, and it's.
Yeah, I just started watching that because you mentioning Umbrella Academy. I was like, yeah, I saw, like, the season 2, I think, is either starting or started or is
This
out
Friday.
now. Okay, so I was like,
this Friday it comes out.
reminders of that. I was like, oh yeah, shit, yeah, I meant to watch that. It's, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize you hadn't watched it.
No, I hadn't. And like the thing is like, I will keep watching it, but it's not one of those things like I was compelled to keep watching Umbrella Academy. This is like all right. Let's see what this does.
It's a lot more episodic.
Yeah.
Like, after the first couple episodes, it settles down into like, because the first few are like a storyline, and then all of a sudden it's like, here's this episode here, and then here's this episode about this. So it's a little different in that.
It's just weird. Like, I mean, other than like Carl Urban, like, I don't like him. I don't like his character on there, but I'm like not. I don't care about anybody on that show. Like, I don't care about the main guy really. Like, he's not selling me on it really. I mean, that sounds bad because, like, with the plot of the movie, I'm with his plight. I'm not buying this guy doing the plight. like I sympathize with like what happens to him and his motivation or whatever. I'm just saying like I'm not buying the actor dude so much. Yeah, it's not clicking for me. As it's not bad. I'm just like
How many episodes in are you? Out of curiosity.
5 or so in the first season.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, maybe it'll turn. I'm going to keep going. It's just like Umbrella Academy. Like right away, I was like, yeah, I want to see what happens next. Like
Yeah, and there's also like, I think with the boys, there's like this overwhelming cynicism and nihilism and kind of grossness about it,
sure,
where it's it's that kind of like everyone's shitty and why aren't you realizing it type thing that show has, as opposed to Umbrella Academy, where it's kind of like it's almost like the show's saying everyone's broken, but there are ways to fix this, and there are people who want to fix it, help you fix it, and it's kind of the boys is a lot less about that and more just kind of like,
well, it's really funny because I mean I don't want to get on like comic adaptation talk for too long, but like I also don't really super love the Preacher adaptation either. If we're talking Garth in his adaptations,
yeah,
and
I haven't. I wanted to watch it and just never did. Because I kind of knew there's no way to do that show properly even on AMC.
no, that shouldn't be
Yeah.
your fear. I mean, like that. No,
Okay.
that show fucking goes for it. Because I did
But
watch
it's also, I read it at a much different time in my life, and I wonder
Yeah.
how childish it would feel to me now.
Well, that's-
and how edgelordy it would be.
I don't know if I'm good at maybe that's the thing is I'm kind of wrestling with and it's funny because maybe I'm doing a lot of wrestling with this like things of the past stuff now, but that should just be your life. But not your life, just the royal.
I
year.
know what you
Yeah.
meant.
But like I feel like this and Watchmen and all these like dark things like when I read the comic, maybe it's just my own personal optimistic Pollyanna attitude that like I read it differently, and I feel like when you hand it to somebody else and they were more into an aspect of it and lean into that, it's like, oh well, that's not really, I never thought that was that important to this story, and you're like that's your main focus of it, and don't get me wrong, like the Watchmen movie is a fairly shot for shot adaptation to the movie, other than the changes, the
Yeah.
things that just didn't make sense in the cinematic light. But like, Preacher was just like, oh, like I never read Preacher this cynical. Like I didn't read it that way. And like the way I'm showing it, it's like, I can't, it's like, it's like, I guess it's like people that complain about book adaptations. Like I didn't read that character like that, or I didn't see this like this. And I'm not necessarily complaining with like the characterizations of people. It's just like, oh, this is actually just like you read it tonally different than I did. And maybe I read it wrong, or I wasn't really getting the point when I read it. But, like just suddenly seeing it like adapted like that, I'm like, oh, that's, okay. Like it makes me question the enjoyment of the source material if like maybe I didn't get it right, or something. Just
Yeah.
watching Preacher play out like it does. And it diverts somewhat from the comic pretty quickly. I mean, things happen in a different order in the TV show as to how they happen in the comic, and different characters are moved to different characters, if that makes any sense. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like I said, the Boys is just that way. Like, I mean, like I don't think I read all of the Boys comic, but I read enough to like, I still wasn't getting this level of cynicism towards everything that this show is about. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I have a level of like threshold of like I want my superheroes and or anybody else to be shitty, and I just feel like everybody in the Boys is like extra super duper shitty for the most part.
Yeah. I mean that kind of seems to be the ethos of the entire show, which is a little. It doesn't make it an easy watch, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, you got like two characters that are supposed to be kind of innocent, but one's not so innocent, maybe. But like, and then it just leaves you with this other character. It's like, all right, you're not giving me much with this character, so like, if that's my audience cipher, like, ugh, come on.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. I did some of the homework for that you guys had a few weeks ago.
okay.
We watched American Pickle.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, Jen was in the mood for something. Well, I mean,
I
like
don't know if I don't know if I would have pivoted right to that, but
well, I mean, I was gone because our old dog got sick and we had to say goodbye to her. And yeah, it felt like that was a movie that wasn't gonna that might be have some funny stuff to it and wouldn't have a dog in it. So you know, it's kind of
yeah,
yeah. And I was like, and I heard what you guys said about it, and I was like, well, we'll see, because
I heard what
you
guys
guys weren't
said about
really. Well, I mean, you guys weren't really about it. It was kind of like, yeah, that was all right, and I
it's
ended up
fine.
liking. I ended up liking it more than I thought I would. I kind of talking about reading things wrong, Harlow. I felt like that movie had a lot more to say that it just didn't want to bother to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of stuff like as far as like I think there's a more interesting movie there without the hijinks in the middle where it's like no, we have to be fighting each other. Like there's something there, as far as like family legacy and that they touch on, but they don't really go into it. And the same with like celebrities and cancel culture and that sort of stuff, where it's like they touch on it, but they don't really. They use it more as a plot device rather than like let's actually explore some of, let's actually try and say something about this.
Right.
And it gets frustrating, where it's. I mean, it's like there's really super heartfelt stuff about religion there at the end, and linking that to family identity that I think like in a movie that isn't such a hurry to get to the end and just be and not quite figuring out its tone, I think there's a much better movie there that doesn't quite get to come out. And it made me curious about the original story to see like how that plays out and if there is more of that depth is there, because as it is, it just feels like it's kind of like checking boxes about the things they want to talk about. And I just feel like there was a lot more there that they could have explored, but it felt like a missed opportunity, I guess. And it's unfortunate, but I still really enjoyed it because I mean, like the stuff near the end is really heartfelt, and I really that's
Yeah.
like really when I was like, all right, I'm back in on this.
Mm-hmm.
I think Harlow and I especially were just basically like we wanted it to continue to be nice and just that
Yeah.
forced like now we are mortal enemies and we will destroy one another. Well,
Yeah.
one will destroy the other. The other is oblivious that it's happening. I just wanted it. I didn't need that. It could have just been an hour and a half of them trying to figure shit out.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and bringing
know.
up
Yeah,
bringing up social issues. Like, I mean, I had this conversation recently with somebody that it's like, it's the kind of interesting discussion you could have had via a movie like this, where, yes, 100 years ago, family was different and more important, I think, than it is now. Because I mean, you typically lived in a small community, and and a lot of times would live with your family for a lot longer than you can now. It's like you would continue to live with your mother and father until you were like got married when you were 30 maybe or 40 and moved out and started your own whole new family thing. And it's like now we live much more in a society where it's like you can choose your family. You can go out and like make friends and things that become more of the family substitute easier and than you could. I'm not putting a unimportance on family, but it's like it's just that should have been brought up as like it's not quite so crucial and tight knit as it once kind of needed to be out of necessity. So, but yeah,
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot more there. And I feel like there's something with his parents that maybe is explored in something they deleted out of that got edited out, because it seems like there's more there than just what Herschel discovers late in the movie. There's something else going on there that they never really get into, and that feels like a missed opportunity as well. But
The way he reacted when the topic of his parents first came up was like, oh, they died in 9/11.
mm-hmm.
Like that was how he reacted when the news was that his parent. I mean, I realize that the timing of that doesn't work out, but
Yeah,
like he just reacted so harshly to the mention of his parents. I was just like, oh shit, there's something really major. He's the end of this movie is he's gonna have to explain 9/11.
yeah. Actually, no. That timing. I'm thinking about it. Like, no, timing wise, that actually would have been kind of. I'm not saying perfect. Like, yes, kill his parents in 9/11. I'm saying like the age that Seth Rogen is. Like, if if like
The
maybe
age that he is, I think he's playing younger in this.
true.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just
He's,
saying
he's
like
playing like 24.
Yeah, because they're there at his college graduation.
well, that's what I mean.
so-
If it's actual Seth Rogen, who's about 40, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's like, graduate college, and then like what, year later they die. You know,
Yeah.
like that could have
Yeah.
been really interesting.
But he was also very believable as like a 24-year-old guy. Like I was like, oh no, you're not gonna be able to pull this off. But I was like, oh yeah, this is fine.
Yes, but also maybe somebody was like, hey, it's Seth Rogen. People are going to expecting a dick and fart and pot joke movie. Like maybe let's not mention 9/11. I guess plot device. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
somebody might have had that conversation. Who knows?
Yeah, but I mean, it's yeah. We watched a little making of thing afterwards, and just like the whole filming the half of the movie with him with a beard, and then filming the other half of the movie with him normal is just crazy. Like, I mean, it works. Like you never would have known, but holy shit, what a pain in the ass.
So
and
what, so was it James Franco in a green suit?
no, it was some other guy. I forget his name, but he looks a little bit like him.
Okay.
Is it his
Yeah.
whatever his the partner guy that's like never in anything? The Michael Cera to his Jonah Hill. Or, no,
Oh,
what-
right.
Whatever. No.
Yeah, his producing partner, Evan
Yeah.
Goldberg.
Yeah.
I don't think it was him either.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I couldn't remember
This
his
guy
name.
basically he had to like he would sit there wearing the outfit, but he wouldn't say anything, or at least not in the beard scenes. Like when he was playing when Seth Rogen was playing young version, and the other guy had to play the beard part. They would basically play the lines on set, and he'd just be wearing the beard, and he'd stand there giving like facial expressions, but he wouldn't do any of the speaking,
Okay.
obviously. But they had him speaking, in the original scenes when it's bearded Herschel talking to,
So it wasn't just some schmuck trying to pretend like he's doing Herschel voice.
no,
He's,
not at all.
He's just standing there
Well, not that
providing
part.
like an eye line, basically.
Kind of, yeah.
Which I thought for one of these gimmicky things where, we've seen it a million times, split screen and whatever, try to, digitally insert someone into a scene. This was the first time, like, it was convincing that they were actually looking at his double.
It was probably a
Because usually
stand-in.
they're looking in the wrong place. They're looking off in the distance or
No,
taller than
they
they're
were
supposed to
very
be, or-
they were very meticulous about marks. Like the scenes when they're in the street, like riding the scooter around, like they had to get the same weather, just all that sort of shit. It's just,
Yeah.
Well, I
pain in
figured
the ass.
like the snow stuff must have been insane. Like,
yeah.
I
don't
can't
like
even
to think
imagine
about
how
it.
they. Yeah. So
That probably was some green suit or
There's a
mocap.
lot of green screen behind them.
Well, I just mean like the person
like,
was
even
probably
outside,
a mocap
they-
and just like insert actual Seth Rogen. I don't know. I'm just thinking like rather than like okay, we'll come now
we'll come
go
back in
get-
a year when
yeah,
the weather is the same.
and you have the beard or whatever.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
also like my God, I've tried really growing a beard and it just doesn't. That would take a while.
Mhm.
Like they fucked
Just-
anything up with the beard scenes. Be like, all right, you got to grow the beard again. It's like, all right, I'll see you in 6 months.
Well, yeah, he said he did it solely because like he thinks fake beards look so shitty always,
they do.
and he's right.
Yeah.
That's just it was a nice movie, kind of like you were talking about earlier, where it's like you watch it and you're like, that was nice by the end of it, but it's kind of like that could have been a lot more.
Yeah,
And it's unfortunate that it isn't.
all right. Well, so while we're bringing up shitty things happening in the world, there's going to be a point to this. I'll get there in a second.
All right.
I just because of the unexpected passing of Chadwick Boseman, I decided to rewatch Black Panther. And I'm using that as a jumping off point to say, hey, it's awful and all that. That really sucks. But I'm not specifically picking on this movie. It's just a movie I've seen recently that I'm realizing is now a thing that is like becoming my biggest pet peeve of script writing is, I think, very similar because this is the first time anyone has probably compared American Pickle to Black Panther, but I'm about to do it. Is there is a point like the T'Challa Killmonger thing is like he understands that he's out there and there's some conflict, and then it's like they come together and it's just there are words that could be said that would de-escalate, and everyone involved has the knowledge to say them. And it's very unfortunate that I'm starting to see that in scripts where it's like no, clearly there is a talking point here that you could very easily say that would de-escalate all of this, because the second he walks in and like demands that he's has a right at a shot of the king, and he's like, look, I delivered Claw, I delivered the guy you've been hunting for 20 something years, you know, and it's like all he had to say was, yeah, but you hired him. like like you were working with him and you double crossed him and killed him, and everyone by go like, yeah, we trust the guy who's actually in charge. You know, like the guy who's been here his entire life. It's one of those like plot points where it's just like, clearly he has this information. This isn't like one of those like a well written. I'm not knocking the script of Black Panther because a lot of movies do this. It's like I said, it's an example because I've seen it. It's just like, it's not like one of those movies where the main character doesn't have all the information. He has all of the information to just go like, no, like, yes, what he's saying is true. He did deliver him, but only because he double crossed him and killed him and was working with him the entire time. Do not trust this guy. Like, yeah. And also, here's the rest of the story. Like, I have the whole story. Like, I will tell you what happened, and it's my dad made the mistake, not me. I'm in the clear here. Like, this guy has a grudge, but it's not with me. So, but American Pickle does that too. It's just they immediately go to like, fuck you. Well, fuck you. All right. It's just like, whoa, like I just don't like that. Like, it's becoming a pet peeve in scripts where it's just like, really, just like that's your jumping off point for your conflict. Like, get your conflict in order a little better. Like, I'm just saying, like, tie the room, like that little bit of script doctoring that will just tie the conflict a little bit better together. Like I said, back that scene up to before he has the knowledge, and then it's like, okay, well, I can buy that. He didn't know, he didn't have any defense. Everybody was like, yeah, that guy. Like I said, you just slight editing and it becomes not a pet peeve.
Yeah.
I keep saying, man, if any script coming out of our current era right now isn't just polished to fuck and doesn't have these contrivances in it, I'm gonna be super fucking pissed. 'Cause you had 5 months to sit around and just like figure shit out because nothing's in production.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Like I said,
we get a bunch of half-ass scripts. I'm gonna be like, y'all motherfuckers.
I still really like Black Panther. I'm not internet hating it. It's just like I said, I can, if you want further examples, every time I see a movie and they like suddenly skip the de-escalation phase, like there's no armistice talk. Like, it's just like, slow up, guys. Use your words. You have information. Present it. Like I said, it's from romantic comedies. Every genre of movie is guilty of this. Just like, you can say something that will shut this all down right now.
Yeah, just say the thing.
Yeah.
Just say the thing.
Yeah.
It is kind of sad that like 90% of movie conflicts could be stopped if someone just talked to someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, the rom-com thing is because if you want another example, just random movie I picked off of streaming services because it was like, I want to have a movie on the background. 10 Things I Hate About You. There are multiple points in that where he could come clean and be like, look, this guy paid. It's the she's all that principle. It's the like, guy paid me to take you out thing, blah blah blah. Like there were several points that he could have said like, okay, before you hear it, like there should have been several come clean moments because there are several opportunities for it, and it's just that's a rom-com contrivance of the same making where instead it's just like, I'm withholding information that will then later blow up in my face instead of like providing information that will completely de-escalate the situation right now. So. Just saying, don't do this in movies. Get better.
Be better.
Yeah, be better.
Yeah. But that is like Chadwick Boseman. That is crazy.
I mean, that would hit.
He made all those Marvel movies after being diagnosed.
Yeah. I mean,
that's insane.
That one hit home because I'm the same age as him. So it was just like, fuck.
Well, that's some real friends in his family and crew, because I'm amazed that never came out.
Yeah.
Like how did like Kevin Feige not know this? Like Ryan Coogler didn't even know. Like how?
Yeah.
Like how do you keep that a secret with how many doctor's visits and surgeries and just everything?
I think I saw a thing today that like the only filmmaker person that he knew or that knew outside of like his family was the director of 42, the Jackie Robinson movie. I think he told.
Really?
Yeah. Like that was it. Like it was, I guess, like they became really good friends or something. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like I'm kind of obsessed with reading about it only because like I am so fascinated at how it was kept a secret, and like it's such a, I don't know. It feels morbid. Like I don't know. It's morbid. It's morbid curiosity, I suppose, because we're talking about an untimely death. But it's like, I'm so completely amazed at how that was kept private, and I don't know, I'm in favor of it. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not like, how did you not tell anybody? We demand to know. It's like, no, I'm
no.
impressed, and I'm like, in this day and age that like that can happen. That like, nowhere was he seen walking into a hospital and someone with a picture, a camera phone. It's like I said, I'm hella impressed. But also at the confidentiality, not the act, not the thing that happened.
I think what's been one of the more moving things about the aftermath of it is all the people have been putting together compilations basically of how in every single instance he would direct attention off of himself to someone else in every situation. Like winning an award, he would give it to someone else, or he would have this downtime for this thing and end up going to a children's hospital, or just like not just every time, like he was like the anti-celebrity. It was just he was constantly just anytime someone was like, hey, you're great, he was like, no, everyone around me is, I'm just here. So I when I saw that hit, I was like, wow, someone hacked the AP. Like there's no way this is legit. Like this, why? Like I'm not reading this right. I'm reading this incorrectly. So
yeah, it's crazy.
But man,
I was gonna try and watch. I was gonna try and watch Get On Up because it's on HBO.
Yeah, I got close.
Yeah, but just wasn't ready for that, I guess.
I was gonna watch one of his movies last night, and everything that was available was like over 2.5 hours, which is fine. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but it was late, and I was just like, but it's good that those. I need to watch Defy Bloods on Netflix.
I do want
to watch that now, especially need to watch it. So.
I do. I have been meaning to watch Get On Up for a long time, but that didn't feel like the one to go to because I'm pretty sure that has the poots in it, and I don't want to be doing my screaming poots thing while also trying to respect a very nice human and actor.
Sure.
So
yeah, that's sure.
Yeah.
Is she in it?
I think she's in it. Am I misremembering? Is it the wrong movie? Oh no, she's in the Jimi Hendrix one. The one that has
Andre 5000.
Yeah. I was like Outcast is the band guy. Is yes. No, sorry, it was another biopic. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So no, I'm cleared to watch Get On Up. I think. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Good news.
Yeah. Shit. I have zero segue out of that. I probably should have brought up my other thing first.
Yeah.
Speaking of comic book movies, I don't know.
Sometimes you just don't even need a segue. Yeah. Just go.
This is just a pair of movies I decided to watch. Just because man, they've been cranking out some of those DC movies. I know you started to get into those, Chuck, like watching some of those DC animated movies.
Oh yeah, I did. I got up to Batman Ninja and was like, this is anime.
Okay, so some of them like
it's Batman anime.
Yes, it is Batman anime. But like that one is one you could skip because there are certain.
Yeah, I know that now.
Well, no. I mean, there are certain ones that like you got all the way up to Batman Ninja and you never talked about it anymore. Like that's fairly new.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched a lot of them.
All right.
And I was enjoying the shit out of them, and then that one like sucked the soul out.
Well, okay, so I don't remember if you were watching them in release order or whatever order. I don't know what your order was, but
okay.
I'm going to talk about one you probably could skip. It's not bad. It's just like, why did you make this one? And that's probably one of the more recent ones, which is just Superman: Man of Tomorrow. It's one of those like it's not bringing anything new to the Superman story like at all, and I don't get it. Like, I mean, it's just like, it's a really weird one to turn into a movie where it's just like, it semi-glosses over his origin, talks about, like, why does Lex Luthor have a beef with him? Like, it's kind of like, it's all like in the time period where he like first goes to Metropolis and first tries to get like a job at the Daily Planet and stuff. And like, first kind of has like coming out stuff, it's just not like, here's the baby Superman and, Krypton and all that. It's like, they kind of skip ahead, but it's just like, when it's over, it's like, yeah, okay, that's like Amazing Spider-Man. Like, it's okay, but did I really need to see this little section of Superman's life again? Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It's just it's such a weird choice of one to make. Like most of all the other ones, if it's a single character at this point, it's like, yeah, because we're doing, a Batman anime, or we're doing, Gotham by Gaslight or something, some Elseworld story, something different. This was just like, I don't know. Here's another slight different take on the beginning of Superman's origin again.
Yeah. No, I think all the ones that I ended up watching were all different versions of the death of Superman.
Okay. They have done that one twice. Something like that was like
they've done it a couple times.
That was like the first one I think they ever put out was the death of Superman or whatever, like one, and then it was like they made it a 2-part thing, 20 years later or whatever, some crazy amount of time. But the other one I got, and this is one I didn't know if you got to. This is one you would kind of like, and I did for a long time, just go like, no. And that's the I watched the Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one.
I did not see that one.
That one's awesome. Watch it. Seriously, it's fucking great. It's so good. And also the weirdest thing about it, and this literally blew my mind, because like a lot of times I will be watching these things and look him up like mid movie, like, oh, who's doing the voice of this? I think I recognize it, and just look it up. Yeah. This one was just like, oh shit, they got Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill back to do Batman and Joker. That's interesting. No, Troy Baker does both of them.
Yeah.
And I could have sworn it was Kevin Conroy. Like the Mark Hamill one, like, or the Joker was like, there was one where I was like, okay, maybe that's not Mark Hamill, or maybe he's just not going for it with the same gusto he normally does. So that one didn't shock me as much, but I am beyond shocked that was not Kevin Conroy doing Batman. Like, it's weird. Like when it was over and I looked, or like the credits came out, I was like, the fuck? Like that kind of reaction.
Did he do Batman in Arkham Origins?
It might have been. It might have been the one
Baker
he did.
For that one.
Or no, or maybe he's the Telltale one. Is he the Telltale Batman?
I never played any of them, so I don't know.
Well, checked it. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I that one might have been. Troy
I think he might be the Telltale Batman.
All I know is I saw like 3 or 4 shark shows during Shark Week, and Kevin Conroy was in all of them narrating, and I was just like, "That's Batman."
Yeah, you got to get the bat
about sharks.
You got to get the bat shark repellent.
Yeah. But it was so weird because like at first I didn't recognize who it was. I'm like, I know that guy. I definitely know that guy. And then I'm like, oh shit, it's Batman. So yeah, it's just
it's
shit.
Batman.
You just like, you don't think of them translating over to narrating shows about sharks and stuff like that.
No, like whenever you hear Peter Cullen doing something that's not Optimus Prime, and you're just like,
no, those don't exist.
Why is Optimus Prime trying to sell me this movie that's not got transforming robots in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Troy Baker was Batman in the Telltale Batman.
Okay.
I know my Batmans, except apparently you don't, because this one fooled me. Anyway, Batman versus TMNT is great. Like it is just the right level of like everything. Like it's not. I mean, it's like it mashes Batman being broody Batman without like against the goofiness of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles without turning him into Lego Batman as like the butt of a joke. But also like they're not like, oh fuck you Turtles. Like it's so bizarre to like mash those two worlds. This like gothic, sad boy that is Batman and the cowabunga dudes of the Turtles, into like one thing and like have it coexist, and it's fucking marvelous. Like I loved it. So I'm just saying like that's one of the best ones of those I've seen in a long time. And I mean it is co-produced by Nickelodeon because that's how you get the co-rights, but I'm pretty sure it's just DC Animated Studios made it, And they might have brought the voices from whatever iteration of the Turtles cartoon there is now. I don't know. I'm not that current on the Turtles happenings. So
well, I saw that the dude who voiced Superman in the first one you mentioned voiced one of the Turtles in the second one you mentioned.
Oh,
so.
okay. Well, I mean, they have their stable of people they will randomly rotate on. But yeah, Superman Man of Tomorrow, whatever. It's fine. Like if you're bored and you're like, I just want a DC movie on in the background. It's perfectly fine. It's just wholly unnecessary. But the Batman versus TMNT, check that one out.
Yeah, it's so strange. Like the Marvel live action movies are way better than the DC live action movies. But
Watch it, Chuck.
Whatever.
That's a bold stance.
But like the DC animated stuff is for the most part, on average, really good. The Marvel stuff, you just kind of go, they're not really giving a shit about this. They're not trying.
Oh, you mean the animated movies they tried for a little
while? Yeah, the Marvel animated stuff is just like, and I feel like they just gave up on that stuff at some point.
Oh, they absolutely did. They haven't made one of those in like forever. I mean,
Yeah.
they did a couple weird like Marvel anime things where they were like, yeah, let that studio do it, but no, they gave up on any animated ventures
Yeah.
they had.
I just
They
feel like
also didn't
were
make
just
that
like,
much.
You know what? No, forget it.
They did the 2 quasi Ultimates adaptations,
Mm-hmm.
which I liked because it's just anything that gets close to the Ultimates is good in my book, even if they don't really do the exact stories per se. But then they did a Doctor Strange one that was weird. It was like he was like the kid Doctor Strange. It wasn't even like Stephen Strange. That was like a weird.
Little strange.
Yeah, it was like it was something weird. It wasn't like he was Doctor Strange kid. It was like he was. Yeah, it took a real weird origin
young
story for
Doctor
Doctor Strange. Yeah, it was like this other guy who was like Doctor Strange was like trapped in like the, whatever psychic dimension or something, but some other realm, and like this guy came along and like found his shit and like got the power of Doctor Strange. And I'm like, this is weird, but I know they did like an Iron Man one, and then they just like got into like motion comics for a hot minute. Like that was like they were like, this is the future, and it's like, okay, and that was like it. They basically just got out of that game. Yeah, I know. I think I saw all the Marvel ones. There weren't many. But yeah, that's about all I got.
Yeah, I don't have any extra stuff here. I saw a lot of stuff though. It's
Yeah.
more than I usually have. 2 seasons of a TV show.
That is a
Pretty
lot
good.
of stuff.
That's
Yeah.
a lot to work on. Yeah.
I think
job.
next time I'm gonna do the. What movie did I pull out of my iTunes library randomly? I started that like I was like I'm gonna go through my iTunes library and like watch things I've never seen before but yet somehow own. Oh, it was Pretty in
You
Pink.
watched, yeah,
Pretty
you
in
watched
Pink.
Airplane.
Yeah. Well, no, I've seen Airplane.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
No, I just
You
needed to
like
go back to that project of like go through my iTunes library and like I own this but I've never seen it. So
Mm-hmm.
that'll
you should justify your purchase.
it's not that.
I know
They
you
all
bought
came in
packs
bundles and
stuff.
shit.
Yeah,
Or sequels. Like I've never seen the third Mummy movie, but I own it because it was a triple pack.
Yeah, that has Jet Li in it.
I know, and yet somehow I was like, somehow the entire world was like, man, I don't want a Mummy movie with Jet Li in it. It's like, why not? That actually sounds pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, why have I not watched this? I think because it doesn't have Rachel Weisz in it. That's why I was like, screw this thing.
I remember when I bought that compilation, I was like, wait, there's a third Mummy movie? Where the fuck was I? Must have been that weird year where I was.
2007 was a weird time, man.
Yeah, I guess it was.
Yeah, we didn't care about Mummy movies. We were too busy fucking. Not you and me. I mean, it's like,
Just say,
we didn't even know each other in 2007.
Yeah, nah.
Not each other,
What?
just like
I-
that was
I
that was the summer of love too. Like we were just all fucking in 2007. You don't remember that? Oh, maybe that was just me.
No, I remember the summer of fuck, but
We didn't have time for mummies and dragon tombs. I was too busy getting dragging up in that womb.
holy shit.
I don't know what's going here. What's happening?
Oh dear.
I'm sorry. I apologize to the American people and the rest of the world.
Just the Americans? Somewhere there's a Frenchman.
Sacre bleu. You son of a bitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody wrap this
Yeah.
up. Give us some contact
shit.
information or something so I don't say any more dumb things.
Yeah, real quick. Labor Day weekend.
Oh yeah.
Video games and shit.
If you're
we're gonna be
listening,
doing it.
if you're listening to the episode brand new, it's happening right now. Like
That's
it's-
right.
Yes.
It is. We're halfway.
Not-
We're through the first day.
If you're on the line stream, not quite yet, but if you're listening to when the podcast comes out, it is happening right now.
Right.
Yeah.
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 You will want to go to noquarters.net because there is information there that you need.
Okay. Yeah. It's vital to your survival.
Yeah, it's very imperative to de-escalate the situation. This information we are presenting to you at the
Yes.
exact right moment, so that we
Right.
don't start fighting.
Yeah. But seriously, go there. We'll be streaming some stuff. We'll just be doing co-op games with people if they want to join us, that sort of thing. We'll figure it all out. You know?
Pinball tournament.
Yeah, pinball tournament 2 on Pinball FX3. So yeah, bunch of stuff. Otherwise, go bmfgas.com, find out all our social stuff from there. Check out patreon.com/bmfcast for bonus stuff. If you're a Who You listener, it is my fault we haven't put an episode out lately for obvious reasons that I mentioned earlier, but we'll be back on it very soon. So don't fret.
Yeah, we'll get there.
You'll get more Matt Smith. Don't worry. But yeah. So anyway, you guys got anything else?
Nah,
Nah.
I've already said too much.
I agree.
Yeah,
It's true.
We jumped on that way too quickly.
it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
man.
fine. It was
Yeah,
a softball.
You should
Yeah.
I was just right up
really
there.
mute your mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shut your hole. Jesus.
Well, in that case, let's get out of here, shall we? I am Harlow.
I'm Mackie.
I'm Chuck.
And for
this is
BJ.
Cast Out.
There it is.
Yeah. BJ's off enjoying the summer of fuck. Well, that's what I figured that's what the sequel to Summer of Love would have to be called, the Summer of Fuck. We don't love anymore.
No,
Yeah.
I would say this year has been the summer of
I mean,
fuck.
look, if love meant anything
I
in
was
this
gonna say,
fucked
if
up
love
world,
had any meaning in
meaningless
this
world.
It does not.
Oh man, I kind of wish we'd save that for a proper episode. Like,
Who knows with these
yeah,
things,
I know,
man?
I know.
Also, when the fuck are we ever going to do a regular episode again?
We could have made it homework, even though that would have been weird because it's hard to
know.
find and stuff. But
Wait, what would have been homework?
2019 after the
2019.
fall of New York.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was an Italian thing.
We are definitely after the fall of New York
Mm-hmm.
and Earth.
Now, this was someone made Children of Men in 1980. What?
1983.
83, yeah. Not in the quality of Children of Men, but the plot is
know.
basically Children of Men.
The plot line.
Yeah, it's
Right.
basically like
It's-
nobody can have
it-
kids, and they're on the search for the one lady who's supposedly fertile.
Yeah. It's Escape from New York, but instead of looking for the president, they're looking for a lady who can have a baby.
So it's also a gender swapped Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
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 Okay.
all right.
It's all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, there's chat and stuff happening. I totally wasn't paying attention to that.
Oh my god.
Sorry,
no one's gonna watch
I'm
us
so
if you're not
sorry.
talking to the chatters.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, did that one guy show up and bitch that we're not like directly addressing the chat every 2
Nah,
seconds when
Haven't seen
someone
that guy
types
since.
something?
I was busy.
Well, once I
talking about
explained it
things.
to him, he's like, I want no part of this.
Good day to you, sir.
Yeah. It's like, all right, man. Well, you know.
Sorry, we just can't stop the conversation to be like, yeah.
Yeah, go to Twitch, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my friend. Go to twitch.tv/noquartersnet because that's where we will be Labor Daying it up.
Mm. Oh, man.
Man, I miss Action Park in the summer of fuck. when we were living life dangerously.
Mm.
Pretty
Yeah,
dangerous.
we didn't have time to see mummy movies.
Yeah, fuck them money. We were fucking on water slides.
Yep.
I like that the one water slide that they talked about was exactly like Der Stuka at Wet and Wild.
Which one?
It's just the one where it's a big, like you kind of, it's just almost a straight down drop that kind of.
Oh, like you just launch out the tube and just fall into the pool? Is that one? Okay.
No, but there's also one that's like it would just, it's almost like a straight drop, but then it would like curve out slowly.
Oh,
to
okay,
along.
yeah.
That's one where they said basically anyway that wrote it got an enema.
Yeah.
Which-
Some of those they were talking about,
That
like,
is
oh, this
exactly
is so.
like the Wet and Wild one.
Yeah, some of those I'm like,
exactly.
they're like, oh, that's really dangerous. I'm like, not really. I mean, gravity's going to do most of the work anyway and get you down, but they're not fun to ride. Like it's like I've never actually understood that. Like I would think it would be better just go on like one fast one where you get the water enema than like the kind that have the little bumps and like have that like they were saying trying to like do the weightless plane thing for half a second. It's like that just hurts when you come back down because like gravity fucking wins. Like
God, when that guy tells that story about the one kid who launched himself off of it, like I could just see that in my mind. This kid just soaring through the air and then landing like 3 stories down.
yeah. But I mean, like I said, I mean the difference is like Wet and Wild probably had an engineer come by and say like here's the maximum you can do, and this still works and doesn't hurt you. That's the difference. But yeah, like one of the first ones they started on, the one where it was like actually carved into the mountain, and you like launch out the tube into the pool, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, that's not so bad. Like that's the weird thing is like it starts you off, and I'm like, I feel like you're making a big deal out of nothing. Like yes, I suppose there could be some disorientation of like falling 10 feet into some slightly colder than you expect water, but like,
Yeah.
oh, we didn't even mention it. Like the fucking wave pool. Like after the guy died, like one of their solutions was to like, or maybe it didn't take the guy dying. They were just like they had to paint the bottom of the pool white because like it
It was
made
too
it.
tough to see the bodies.
Yeah,
in the
it made
water.
it easier for the lifeguards to just look down and see if there were any bodies down there.
Yeah.
Seriously, they actually said this because like what they said the water was murky because of like runoff from the hillside, like kind of sort of drain in there, but then like blood, body waste, and wasn't there something oil or something too from something? I don't know.
Suntan lotion.
Oh, suntan lotion, yeah, tanner and stuff from because it's fucking
Yeah.
New Jersey, so the
There was
Jersey
just sludge.
Jersey shore was just bleeding into the wave pool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like a smoky snooky in your pool, so.
No.
Yeah.
No. No.
But yeah, no, they had to paint the bottom of the pool white just so they could more easily spot if people were like in the process of drowning.
Sure. That makes sense. All right, everybody, send me files.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Let me get on that.
I got to go.
Okay.
All right, man.
Talk to y'all later.
Glad your dog was quiet.
Yeah, I shamed her into leaving.
Oh no. Did you have a
Good
bell,
work.
Shane?
Thanks.
Ding.
See ya.
Yep. Bye.
Bye, live stream.
Hey, Carlo, this is 19, right? You said?
Yes. Bye, live stream. I'm shutting you down.